One of the reasons why God is the most powerful is not because God can cause fire. It's not because God can create, although it's part of the reason why God is powerful. But one of the reasons that God is the most powerful is that God has all powers, but yet God is still under control. Do you know what it is to have power and yet can control yourself? There is nothing as powerful as that. You know, absolute power corrupt absolutely. Time you hold power, you will know that power can intoxicate. You can just sit in your house one day and say, who do I deal with now? Especially when you remember all the people that frustrated your life. You will want to show them pepper. That makes you a human being. Is it not true? Some of you here, the reason why you have not really shown your enemies pepper is because you don't have money. Let small money enter your hand. You will see David in the bush. You will see him tending flock and all of that, being obedient. If only you know that there was a murderer in David, you will not believe. But it was the power he occupied that brought that intoxication. Power can actually intoxicate. So the reason why it's most powerful is that God has all power in his control, and yet God is under control. One of the greatest power is self-control, the ability to control yourself. All of you here, there are some certain area of your life that you cannot even control. Can you control how happy you are? If somebody calls you and says something bad happened to you, will you be joyful? So the inability of you to hear bad news and choose to be happy, you can't. If I come here and give you slap, can you choose to be happy? It's not possible. The inability that you want to be happy but you can't be happy makes you insufficient. But tell God I don't want you again, or tell God I don't need you again. God can be happy. That makes him powerful. If you come and tell God now, I don't need you in my life again, maybe God have been using you to achieve thousands of souls, and one day decide to say, God, I know they do again. You see that thing you told God, it will not make God to say, I'm heartbroken. No. You will now start crying. Some of you now that are in relationship and somebody tells you it's over, you will cry a river. Is it not true? So the fact that you can't control your emotions, you can't control pressure. There's some things now that is in you now that you don't know until pressure comes. You remember the time that Jesus was in a boat and rain came, storm came, Jesus was sleeping. The fact that he was not even bothered should give you a consign. That makes him to be powerful. The fact that he was not shaking. Boat is about to capsize. Yeah, Jesus was. You remember the time that they were mocking Jesus, laughing at Jesus, cursing him, and disciples can say, Jesus, see these people are laughing at you and cursing you, do something now. Then I say, okay, maybe you don't understand what we're talking about. Remember your ancestor Elijah, when they cursed him, he called down fire from heaven and fire destroyed them. And Jesus said, you don't know the kind of spirits you are made of. That Elijah, he didn't have the spirit to control that. Are you with me? But Jesus had all things. He had the power to say fire fall, but you choose not. Imagine imagine Elijah being Jesus and they are crucifying him. Imagine it. Elijah that slew 450 prophets. That makes him a man. So I'm trying to say why God is all powerful is because what? God can control himself despite the fact that he has all power within his control. And how did God achieve this? How God achieved this is that God set laws around himself and mandated himself to be obedient to that law. In fact, God had to exalt the laws above him, and God had to make the laws he created a watcher over him. So if he want to go astray or want to do something bad or want to do something angrily, that word can refrain him. Are you getting what I'm saying? So God created different laws around him. For instance, laws of jurisdiction, that God cannot enter into your life until you tell him to enter. Is a law. God can interfere in your life, but he chooses not to interfere because he has made a law, and that law is the law of jurisdiction or sovereignty. That is why God cannot make you a born again until you tell him, make me a born again. That's why God cannot come and answer your prayer until you tell him, come and answer. That's why God told you, call upon me in the days of trouble. Instead of him coming to help you when you're in trouble, he wants you to call upon him. It's a law he created. Are you following now? So God decided to become a student of his word. So he crafted laws around himself that will make him to be under control. Are you following now? There are many laws, I won't talk about them, but one of the laws is that now, because God have done this and he knows how he works with him, so he now came to man. And for you to be a God, you must have laws guiding you. So he now told man, the day you shall eat of this tree, you will surely die. You know why that law was created? It's to control the affairs of man. He's trying to teach man. Are you following? He's trying to teach man, for you to be a God, you must have laws guiding you. So it's not that the tree of good and evil is a bad tree. That tree of good and evil is not bad. Adam was supposed to eat from that tree, because one of the ways to be a God is must know good and evil. Was not God that was complaining and saying that this one has become one of us, knowing good and evil. But you created him to be in your image and what? In your likeness. And part of the way that he can be as you are is that he must know good and evil. So it was not yet time for Adam to eat of that tree. Are you following what I'm saying? So God now had to make a law. Not yet time. Don't eat of this one. Are you following? But Adam went out of the quadrant of that law and ate. So when God said, the day you shall eat of this tree, you will surely die, it has become a law, right? And that law will also become a reality of God, because he has spoken it. So when that word was created, death was created. The day you shall eat of this tree, you will die. Death was created. So no be Satan create death. It is the utterance of God that created the death. But the intention of God was not that to be created. The intention of God is that he wanted to put man under control. If God said, the day you shall eat of this tree, you will surely faint, what would have been created if Adam had fallen was fainting. Are you following? So when God says, the day you shall eat of this, you shall surely die, when Adam now ate of that tree, death was now formed from that word. And because it came from the utterance of God, it began to reign, and God could not stop it, because it is the word of God. And remember, God is subjected to his own word. Are you following? So that is what empowered death, not even Satan, to begin to reign from the time of Adam to this day. So to tell you how obedient God is to his word and loyal he is to his word, he now became man to die. Why did he choose to die? Because he said, Adam, the day you shall eat of this tree, you will die. And to settle his utterance, he need to become a man to die. God would have said, sin be wiped away with his word. Is it not true? But because he is subjected to his own word, he had to come and die to settle his utterance, to kill death. Revelation 1:18. And the way of disarming death is that you have to die. Following that now, this is how God was able to conquer the spirit of death. So we are celebrating victory over death, because death was empowered by the fall of man, and God had to become man to die to settle what he has said. Are you getting the point now? Do you understand that now? Number 3.